Okay, so it is 2 in the morning. Yes, it's 2 in the morning. I just got done testing 3 brushless circular saws, mid-grade saws. We have the Craftsman RP, which is their new line of brushless tools. I have the Ryobi 1 Plus HP, all 7 1/4 circular saws. And last but not least, the heavy Kobalt XTR. I'm going to test these saws in a variety of categories, so come along with me and we'll see who's going to be the winner in this particular genre of mid-grade brushless circular saws. The Kobalt brushless circular saw comes with dust collection on the back. Just add the little bolt with the Allen key. The Allen key is stored on the opposite side of the saw for changing the blade and taking off the dust collection adapter. There's a rafter hook on this particular circular saw. This one overall seems a little bit more professional than the others. It is part of their XTR line, which is their high end. The blade guard is metal on this saw. The bevel adjustment is metal. You can adjust the stops on the bevel. 56, 45, 22.5. If you look through the back, you can see the adjustment moving, and there is a little notch on the metal that lines up with the depth. You can see it as it going by right there. A little bit more difficult to see than the Ryobi. The weight of the Kobalt XTR without battery or blade is 4 kilograms, 62 grams, 8 pounds, 15.3 ounces. One of the things I'm trying to figure out about these 3 saws is which one is the most powerful. So I've built a little jig here with a torque adapter on it that'll read foot-pounds. When I engage the saw, it'll try to turn, but it won't be able to turn because this torque adapter and rig will stop it from turning. It will, however, measure how much torque it produces to try to turn. So I'm going to see which one of these 3 saws produces the most torque in foot-pounds. The first saw will be the Kobalt brushless saw. I'm going to engage the saw 3 times in little bursts to see how much torque it's able to build up. We built up 16 foot-pounds of torque with the Kobalt saw. This is the Ryobi 1 Plus HP 7 1/4 inch circular saw. This is a brushless circular saw. The model number is PBLCS500. As you can see, the battery pack fits here, and there are terminals where it fits with the high performance battery so it can communicate with the tool. There's a bevel adjustment on the front. It goes all the way up to 56 degrees. There is no notch on the bevel at 22.5 or 45. You can see the arrow here to line up the depth adjustment. Pull the lever up and you can adjust the depth of the saw and line it up with the desired amount. The depth adjustment is relatively easy to see and to read. The hex key to change the blade is stored in the back of the saw. The blade guard is plastic, so is the bevel adjustment knob and the actual bevel adjustment itself. There is a light in the front of the saw. There's the blade stop to change the blades. The weight of the saw without a blade is 6 pounds, 9.9 ounces, or 3 kilograms and 2 grams. The Ryobi does come with an adapter for dust collection that fits right here. I thought it was strange, however, that there's only a very small opening right here for this large adapter. We'll have to test that out and see how it works. I have the Ryobi hooked up, I have the dust collection hooked up. The battery on the back side of the Ryobi prevented me from putting an anchor on the back side, but it appears we have more than enough support here to keep the Ryobi in place. We're going to test the startup torque. I'm going to give it 3 startup cycles and see where we land. Interesting. 35. 28. So this thing doesn't cut off like the others do. That's very interesting. See, the other ones, whenever they meet resistance, they cut off immediately. And I guess it's sort of like an anti-kickback deal. The Ryobi doesn't. So it's able to put 35 foot-pounds of torque on. Interesting. 30, 17 that time. So anywhere from 17 to 35 foot-pounds of torque. Very interesting. So let me know what you think in the comments. Seems like that might not be as safe. The lower the torque where it gives out would be the safer the saw, in my opinion. So initially I was going to see how much power these things produced, and now I think more along the lines of the lower the number the better, because you won't have any issue when it binds up or gets caught. Let me know what you think. This is the Craftsman Brushless RP. It's their newest model. It says it has a brake on it, so we'll test that out. It is the model CMCS500, 7 1/4 inch. There is the stop for the blade, so you can change the blade. There is tool storage at the back of the saw for the Allen key. The blade guard is plastic. The bevel adjustment is metal. The bevel adjustment does have stops at 45 degrees and 22.5 degrees. There's provision in the back for a dust collection adapter, but it does not come with this saw. The saw without the blade or battery weighs in at 6 pounds, 14.3 ounces, or 3 kilograms, 126 grams. In case you guys did not notice, each saw will be using a brand new Diablo framing blade. That's 24 teeth, 7 1/4 diameter. On 3 attempts, the Craftsman's able to produce 20 foot-pounds of torque. In the next test, I'll be using the saws on this new rig to cut through 5 1x4s. We're going to see how quickly each saw cuts through these 1x4s. Because the Kobalt saw and the Ryobi saw have dust collection ports, I do have those two saws connected to my shop vac. I'll be using 10 pounds of weights as the downforce on the saws. Each one of the boards are 12 inches long. The Craftsman doesn't come with a dust collection adapter, but I have my shop vac set up to take as much dust out of the work area as possible. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I decided since this was a bind up, it was just bad luck, and I omitted this run and did not count it toward the total. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's fun. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Well, it looks like the Craftsman made the deepest cut. Ryobi made the shallowest cut. The Craftsman's looks like it's 2 9/16. The Ryobi is 2 and a hair shy of 7/16. And then the Kobalt is 2 1/2. So looking at the chart, we can see all of the first place finishes highlighted in yellow. Ryobi has 1, Craftsman has 2, Kobalt has all the other ones. RPM, Kobalt dominates, 5382. 16 foot-pounds, the safest of the 3 saws in that area. Build quality and feature quality are subjective, but I gave Kobalt the win in both those categories. It's the most professional of all the 3 saws. The electric brake on the Kobalt is not quite as good as the Craftsman, but it's pretty darn close. And the cut speed on the Kobalt for 1x4 and 2x4, it won both of those. It wasn't quite the depth of cut as the Craftsman, but it was pretty close there too. So pretty much Kobalt dominated this thing. It cost a little bit more than the other two, only $10 more than the Ryobi. So if you look at this and you don't have any investment in any battery platform, the Kobalt is just screaming, buy me, I guess. But Ryobi has a much more extensive tool platform. So if you're invested in it, it makes sense if you are a hobbyist DIY guy to go ahead and go with the Ryobi saw. The Craftsman is just slightly better than the Ryobi. Has a little bit more RPM. Weighs a little bit more though. Better electric brake, much better. Cut speed's about the same, give or take. Has a better depth of cut. So between those two, Craftsman has the edge. But there's a lot of Ryobi platform users out there where that'll be the deciding factor. But as far as quality of saw and just best saw of the 3, ignoring all other factors, Kobalt was hands down the best. A little bit heavier, but that's about the only issue that I saw with it.